As he turns 35, Tom Brady's on the downside of his career. And if you ask me if he'll ever get to another Super Bowl, I have one answer. No way, no how.
Brady caught, touchdown, Julian Edelman. The New England Patriots are the NFL champions.
And this will be the end of it, and we can move on from the Patriots. No Gronk, no hardware.
Second and goal to go from the 2. Toss sweep right for James White. Cuts it under the right arm. Cuts it upfield. Driving forward. Diving to the goal line. A touchdown. And a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it. And I get it. The people in New England and the Brady supporters, they want to proclaim that he's the greatest of all time. He's not. He's the LOAT, the luckiest of all time, Skip Bayless. And I will give it to you. Ready? The luckiest of all time.
More of the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back in. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. That was Rob Parker over the years when Tom Brady was 35, and then up until this week, and Brady's won 2 Super Bowls ever since. Rob said he'll never be in another Super Bowl, and if you listen to the show, you know I'm a big Patriot fan, and Tom Brady is my favorite athlete of all time. So now let's go out to the hotline and welcome in our Fox colleague from FS1, and that is Rob Parker. Rob, good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. I got a quick question to ask you, though, first, because I'm a little bit annoyed with you, and it has nothing to do with the Brady stuff yet. On Monday, I tweeted you good morning, and you blocked me on Twitter. Why was I blocked by Rob Parker's Twitter?
I have no idea. It must have been more than good morning. I don't believe it was just good morning.
Oh,
because I don't block you for good morning.
Rob, all it was, Rob, I said good morning to Rob Parker, Bart Hubbock, and then also Roger Goodell. The drive for 5 is complete. The Patriots are world champions. That's all I said.
No, I don't remember. I usually that normally doesn't set me off. I just, when people are disrespectful and just say stuff that's inappropriate, those are the people I'm not willing to deal with on Twitter or acknowledge. So I don't know what else or why you got blocked. Maybe I was blocking somebody else. But if that's really what you said, that's definitely not blockable.
Okay, good. That's the first thing we got out because that's all I said. And I thought it was a little bit soft. But when you go on TV and
I'm far from soft.
Yeah,
I've been in this business 30 years.
Yeah, I know that. But I was just saying, when I first got blocked on Twitter, I thought it was a little bit soft, and it was a mistake, so that's okay. We can move on from that. When you go on TV, and sometimes I've done TV before on a much smaller scale than you, I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm a lot younger in this business. But sometimes you make a point on TV, you go on with the T-shirt, with the LOAT, and it's a little bit of a gimmick. Do you really believe that stuff that you say about Tom Brady?
Absolutely.
Why?
I've said he's a great quarterback, but he's not the greatest of all time. In my opinion, I think he is the luckiest player who's ever played or of all time, and that things have gone his way. That doesn't mean that he can't play or that he hasn't made plays when opportunities have opened up for him. I've never said he can't play or he's not great. I said he's lucky. He's 2 plays away from losing 4 straight Super Bowls, no matter whether you want to agree with that or you think that's woulda, coulda, shoulda. If Seattle runs the ball in at the goal line, Tom Brady doesn't win that Super Bowl. If Atlanta runs more than 4 times in the second half and just stays at the 22-yard line with 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, and kicks a field goal, they're up by 11. The stuff that they did was ridiculous as far as football goes. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? Did he take advantage of those situations? Absolutely. That's when I talk about him being lucky, not him lucky throwing a pass or making a play. That's not the luck that's involved. Things have worked out for him, and he's capitalized.
Rob, I need you to just define luck for me a little bit more because I'm still lost on your definition of luck because I had Joe Theismann on earlier in the week, and I played him your comments, and he basically said to me, in this game, your effort is what makes you lucky, and their lucky plays do occur because of the effort you put in. So just define what luck is to you. Luck
is that Pete Carroll in Seattle with beast mode, Marshawn Lynch there, who rushed for over 120-some-odd yards in that Super Bowl and rushed them to the 1-yard line, decides to throw a dangerous pass in the end zone. That's lucky. That if anybody else, if they rush the ball 2 more times and don't get in, then they don't deserve to win the Super Bowl. It was a lucky play Not that the play that they made was lucky, but a lucky opportunity for Tom Brady that they didn't get in where most teams are going to get in with the player of Marshawn Lynch's ability at that spot. The same thing. You're up 28-3 in this Super Bowl. There's no way, I don't care who you are as a football person, that you should rush, as a coach, rush the ball 4 times after you're up 28-3. It makes no sense whatsoever that you would not rush the ball more. And also go look at the end of the game where they're starting plays with 20 seconds left on the play clock. That's not football.
Hey, it's stupid. Hey, Rob, what it is, it's stupid. I don't think it's luck. I just think it's stupid. And if Brady is just this lucky quarterback, and I know you said he's great, well, let's remember in that Super Bowl, Curse made a ridiculous catch. David Tyree in Super Bowl 42 made a ridiculous catch. And if he was so lucky, even going back before Tyree, Asante Samuel would have just picked off the football that was right in his hands.
No, but those 2 plays you're talking about, neither one of those were touchdowns that won a game. Neither one.
The Asante play would have ended the game, though.
No, but I'm talking about, you're talking about Curse and those plays. Like, I'm talking about the plays that have allowed Tom Brady to do what he's done. He's just as close. Nobody was thinking that Tom Brady was the greatest of all time. 3 quarters into that football game on Sunday. And obviously Atlanta helped the cause that set up Tom Brady for him to be able to do those things, and you give the guy credit. He took advantage of it. It still doesn't mean he's not lucky.
We're talking to Rob Parker. Rob, I know the greatest quarterback of all time. It's a subjective point, and I could say Brady, you could say Montana, and we could debate this until we're blue in the face. But I hear that audio a few years ago, and I know people make wrong predictions all the time in this business, and I'm not banging on you for that. But when
all I need to do is pull some tape of you, and I'm sure during your radio career.
Oh, sure.
So
Rob, that's not what I'm saying. Rob, that's not what I'm saying. Let me finish my sentence.
No, but let me just say to you, that's easy to do. I could pull 100 pieces.
Sure, I'll be the first one to admit it.
Okay,
but what I'm saying is, Rob, when you go with this argument, and you said on First Take when you were on it that Brady would never get to another Super Bowl, and he wins 2. And then you come back the next day after he wins the second Super Bowl with the luckiest of all time shirt. Can you see why people just think, hey, Rob Parker's looking like a bunch of sour grapes?
No, I can't.
Why not?
I can't because I made the case on the luck that if you follow my Twitter or whatever.
I can't. You blocked me.
Well, yeah, you got blocked this time. Next time, start a new one. But there are a lot of people who are in my camp who understand exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to Brady. And they also don't believe if just getting the Super Bowls makes you the best, then I guess Jim Kelly was because he went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Nobody ever says Jim Kelly's the greatest quarterback ever because he went to 4 straight Super Bowls. It's about winning. Joe Montana went to 4. He's 4-0, 11 touchdowns, no picks, 3 MVPs. That's fine. That's the guy who I still think is the greatest quarterback. And Tom Brady, along with as his 5 Super Bowls, I get it. 5 is more than 4, but 4 is better. 4-0 is better than 5-2 in my book. 4-0 is better than 5-2. And Joe Montana doesn't have any cheating scandals with his organization. Did Tom Brady have defensive signals? Did they know what the other team was doing? Deflategate with the deflator, and Tom Brady destroyed his phone rather than cooperate with the NFL if he had nothing to hide. When you add all that stuff up, it gives people a reason not to think. I always say this. Tom Brady should be Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter won 5 championships. He has an unblemished career. Nobody has any issue with Derek Jeter, can say anything about him. It's not the case with Tom Brady. The people who are Brady fans and Boston fans and all that, you guys can deny all you want, but the rest of NFL America, they're not going to proclaim Tom Brady as the greatest no matter what you guys say, because there's still other stuff that also factors in when you talk about the greatest of all time, not just the number of Super Bowls.
Spygate, I will give you, and we still don't know because the tapes were destroyed, the power of Spygate. Deflategate, though, I don't want to have that argument because I think a lot of it is a bunch of nonsense. But with that being said, though, just by looking at some of the stuff even Joe Montana said during Deflategate, he said his offensive lineman used to spray silicone on them, and Rice was using gloves with stickum on them. There are some cheating allegations there. And Parcells, to even go back there, would always talk about the communication problems when they would play Bill Walsh's teams.
Yeah, but the only problem I have is Bill Walsh wasn't suspended and fined $500,000, and the franchise lost picks. And Joe Montana, no matter what he says or Jerry Rice says now, didn't face a 4-game suspension for not being forthright and honest with the league and toward investigation. And there's nobody else I see. I've never seen anybody else. Show me Joe Montana's phone that has 100 text messages to a ball boy who's nicknamed the Deflator. When you guys show me that, let's talk to Eric Mangini. Let's talk to Eric Mangini, who blew the whistle on that franchise. Let's talk about their offensive coordinator from Denver.
McDaniel,
who also got busted by recording other teams' signals. This is a culture. This is not. Eric Mangini is one of Bill Belichick's guys. Go read this stuff.
I read it all the time. Rob, come on. Don't tell me to go read it. I read it all the time as we're talking to Rob Parker. Let me just ask you this, though. I'll give you player A, player B, and you tell me with the straight face that you'd rather have player B than player A. 5 rings, 61,582 yards, 456 touchdowns, player A. Player B, 4 rings, 40,551 yards, 273 touchdowns. You tell me you'd rather have player B.
Oh, okay. How you doing? I would take.
Are you
I don't
talking
go
to us?
by just. I don't. No. Somebody just.
Oh, okay.
recognized
I
me
was
walking
lost
by.
then.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, I've been here the whole show,
Sorry
Rob.
about that.
It's all
No.
good.
Somebody just said.
I'm actually starting to like you a little bit more in this interview, Rob, since you've been coming on the show. It's bizarre.
And no, I was going to say I just can't do it blanket over just pure numbers. I'd have to look at more stuff than that. It's not just a purely numbers thing. That's not how it works.
So let me give you something more than just pure numbers.
I mean, because Dan Marino has some unbelievable numbers, but he never won. That's why he was never considered the greatest quarterback ever, because he never won.
Rob, is there anything that you will ever, like Brady, let's say if he wins 2 more Super Bowls before he retires, what will it take for you to say he's the greatest quarterback of all time?
For Brady and the Patriots to come clean about, and I'm going to say this. This is my prediction. Just like I said, Brady, my prediction is that Tom Brady and the Patriots will be ratted out at some point. Someone will write a book, tell-all book, and it'll detail all the cheating, everything that went on in that organization, and people will look differently at him. Tom Brady could wind up being Lance Armstrong without the bicycle. Just remember, I'm telling you this.
Stop it, Rob. Real quickly, before we let you run, because I know you got to run, and I want to get your take on Oakley and T.O. in just a second. But one more thing on Tom Brady. The guy's been in the league, I'm talking about when he was actually playing, not the year he was on the bench and not the year that he was hurt. He's been in the league 15 years, been to 7 Super Bowls. I don't care what allegations that are. There's a lot of consistency with that. And then also, you look at the players that Tom Brady's played with and won Super Bowls with. Patton, Givens, Branch, Brown, Edelman, Amendola, Antoine Smith, Kevin Falk. There's no Jerry Rice or Roger Craig on those Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah, no, in the year that he had Randy Moss, he couldn't complete the job and get it done.
He lost 1 game, Rob. 1 game. They almost went undefeated when he had 1 good wide receiver.
He's also had Hernandez and Gronk. You guys never want to mention those guys as if they don't matter.
Oh, Gronk, sure.
Hernandez,
I never mentioned on the show because Hernandez shouldn't even be on the planet. But you continue.
And those other guys you mentioned, I don't know why people diss them. They have football uniforms. They're not selling soda. And
not Jerry Rice.
Stand. Okay, but
not
those
an MVP
guys
like Roger Craig.
Yeah, but also Montana won Super Bowls without Jerry Rice before he got there. So it's not like he couldn't win and he only could win with Jerry Rice. So that argument doesn't work for me.
Do you think the Patriots are the only team that cheats?
They're the ones who got caught.
But do you think they're the only team that cheats?
No, I'm sure other teams do, but you got to get caught. It's just like everybody driving 75 on the highway. The guy who gets the ticket is the guy who gets caught, right? And that's the guy who you look at or say you shouldn't be doing that. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't cheat, or I don't know, but I know that the Patriots have gotten caught.
Rank your top 3 quarterbacks for me.
Montana, probably tied for 3rd, Brady, and Manning.
Wow, you tie Peyton and Tom?
Yeah, I would. I
saw. Come on, Rob. That's bad.
Saw Peyton
Rob,
Manning,
that's bad.
I saw Peyton Manning beat Tom Brady a few times in AFC Championship
Yeah,
games.
but
What are you talking
the
about?
guy has 5 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has 2.
But also how many?
2.
Peyton Manning has 5 MVPs.
Brady's the all-time winningest quarterback in the game. Come on, Rob.
Okay.
You can't
But
believe that.
But he doesn't have any cheating scandals that maybe have had an effect on the game. That's all I'm saying is because of the checkered blemishes that come with being on the Patriots, and you know this, and this is why you even called me to be on, is that people won't give you a consensus that Tom Brady's the greatest, and that's the reason why.
I've had a lot of
be.
Rob, I had so many people. Steve Diazzi came on this week. Joe Theismann came on this week. I was at the Super Bowl last week, and people said he's the greatest quarterback ever. Boomer Esiason was on my flight and told me that before the game. I don't need you to just tell me that, just because he's not the greatest, that means that you're right. No, I had you on because you said a lot of things that I don't even think you actually believe.
I believe everything I said. You have no idea. You don't know me then because that's not what I'm based on. I'm based on my opinion, based on the stuff that I've seen and done. I've been in the business 31 years, and I'm sticking by my story. That's it.
Rob Parker with this. Rob, let's get away from this Brady stuff just for a little bit. And I know you got to run soon, so I got 2 more things for you, and then we'll let you go. Charles Oakley, and I know that you worked in New York for a very long time. With Charles Oakley, this thing, and I'm not saying Charles is right because you shouldn't put your hands on people, but James Dolan's been an embarrassment with the Knicks. Just your reaction on what's going on in Madison Square Garden, that the news broke today that Charles Oakley's been banned from life from MSG.
Is that a punishment or is that a reward? I mean,
it actually may be a reward. You may be right.
Exactly. Given what Charles Dolan, what James Dolan has done with that organization and what he's done. But obviously, Charles shouldn't have put his hands on the security, but it shouldn't have been handled that way. They should have sent one guy over to talk to Charles, say, can we speak to you in the back? The owner doesn't want you in the building. Do you know what I mean? We'll reimburse you for your tickets, and we don't want an incident. We don't want to do anything, but we will ask you to leave. And do it that way. When you send 8 people over, and I'm sure Charles Oakley told them, don't put your hands on me. And anybody, I covered Charles Oakley with the Knicks when I was working for the Daily News. I know what kind of guy he is. He's very prideful. He's not into all the games and nonsense and people trying to show him up. He's just not that guy. So I'm not surprised at what happened. I just thought it was handled poorly, and Dolan was a big reason on why it went so south and was so bad.
And today he went on Michael Kay's show and just was talking about, that he could have anger management problems, he could have an alcohol problem. And I don't know how they would know that, but here's the thing with James Dolan, who has had his problems in the past as well. You should not go on a radio show and blast a former player like that. If he really has a problem, they should try to go get him help.
No, absolutely. That's what a real organization would do. They would go get you help when you need it, no matter what it is. Look at when Dwight Gooden was going through his situation. Both the Mets and Yankees said, whatever we need to do to help you, we would be willing to help you. That's what organizations do. And it's lame on Dolan's part, and that's why the Knicks are a mess. And as long as he owns it, I can't see it getting any better there.
And before we let you run, in closing with Rob Parker from FS1, who joins us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, a lot of my listening audience in South Jersey and also Philadelphia, and we had T.O. on this show Friday. They are very upset that T.O. didn't get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think that's a complete joke. Rob, please, if you're going to do something right in this interview, please tell me that you agree with me on this one.
I agree with you on that one.
There we go.
I think
Look
what
at
they're
that.
doing is terrible to T.O., and he just has the stats. See, the problem and why I've always had a problem with the Pro Football Hall of Fame is that you don't have any concrete numbers. That's what makes the Baseball Hall of Fame so much better. You do have benchmarks that if you hit, normally you're going to get in, and you know what those marks are: 3,000 hits, 300 wins, 500 home runs. And you have something like that. Pro Football Hall of Fame seems totally arbitrary, and then Dan Fouts comes out with this whole notion that because he played for a lot of teams, he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. And you can list so many other players like Deion Sanders and all these other guys who played for a lot of teams as well. It makes absolutely no sense. And I don't think that's a true Hall of Fame if that guy doesn't wind up getting in there.
And the bad teammate stuff, and I'm not saying T.O. was a choir boy, but I saw him play against my Patriots in that 2004-2005 Super Bowl, and that was one of the best performances I've ever seen. So he was a good team player that night.
Absolutely, and he wanted to win. That's the other thing. I never thought that guy didn't want to win and was just out there to pad his stats. That dude wanted to win, and that's all you need to do. Nobody's perfect. People have issues. I just think it's wrong to keep him out over that when this guy hasn't done anything really bad to anybody, whether he might have hurt a couple guys' feelings or whatever, if that's the case. But I think it's a travesty to this point, and maybe hopefully they'll get it together and get him in where he belongs.
Well, Rob, I do appreciate the time. I will text you after this interview ends, and I will show you the tweet that I sent you so you could unblock me. And I'm looking forward to the day that you come on this show and you say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, because when it's all said and done, he will be the greatest quarterback of all time. Rob, appreciate it.
You got the tape rolling? Tom Brady will not make another Super Bowl.
I don't think you want to go down that route. You know what? It actually may be fortunate, just like the Dolan punishment, that I've been blocked from your Twitter if you're going to give me those takes.
All right, take it easy.
There's Rob Parker joining us. And there's no way he believes what he's saying. Just no way. It's a shtick. That's what it is. He said it when he was 35. Oh, no way, no how. He'll never get to another Super Bowl. He's been to 2. He's won 2. And then he gets on the day after, he just won his 5th Super Bowl at the age of 39 with the T-shirt. It's a gimmick. Oh, he's the LOAT. Stop it. I understand if you want to have a fair argument about Brady and Montana, because it's a subjective point. I get that. It's an opinion who you think is the greatest quarterback of all time. But when you have that argument, and when you're Rob Parker and you say he's the luckiest quarterback of all time, give me a break. Because you don't do this for 15 years playing, get to 7 Super Bowls and win 5, and be the luckiest quarterback. Everyone needs a break in a Super Bowl. It happens with every player that plays the game. But don't tell me he's the luckiest quarterback of all time, because that's ridiculous. And 2 things. You rather be 4-0 in Super Bowls than 5-2? Really? You rather be 4-0 than 5-2? Stop with that nonsense. You rather have 5. And that is the point where he just completely lost all credibility with this point with me. And I understand he's going to bring up the cheating stuff. I get it. But the point where he lost all credibility, and I get it, he's been in this business for a long time. He has a lot more experience with me. He's a lot bigger following than I do. But when he brings up the stuff of, oh, well, they lost in 2007. The guy went 18-1. Like, come on, that's his first loss of the year. Let's not even show any credit to that. And trust me, I don't like that year because it ended in a loss. But don't tell me that doesn't even enhance the argument, that he's been to 7 Super Bowls. And I'm not dissing Montana. I really like Montana. I have a signed Montana book in my room. But I'd rather get to the Super Bowl and lose than lose in the divisional round. I'd rather get to 7 Super Bowls and win 5 than be 4-0. And when Brady retires, he will break every record and may add another ring. I guess Rob didn't like that. We went back and played some of the clips because he was wrong. And I get it. People make wrong predictions. But when you can't admit you're wrong, that's my problem. And he can't admit that he was wrong. And one day he will get on this show and he will say, yes, way, yes, how, Zach, you were right. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.